Today let's discuss when is it time to give up on your used car. Now, if your car has sentimental value, such as your mother-in-law gave it to you a little while ago, that's an emotional decision that can only be determined by your wife, and nobody can tell you when to give up on it. By far, a lot of people give up on their used car due to a financial reason. Now, there are two main car killers out there. It's basically the body of the car and then everything under the hood. For the body itself, there's major stuff that can pretty much total out a car, like a big accident or any damage to the body of the vehicle. And then there's of course the minor stuff. This stuff can usually be fixed. These are degradation things like the yellow headlights and paint falling off, dings and dents, and of course rust. Around here, rust can get so bad it can actually fall in the major category and also make it not worth repairing. Then there's the mechanical stuff, and this is where a lot of people get scared and give up on their car. So if there's a major issue with the car, it can be a pretty high repair bill, such as the engine or the transmission. I wouldn't be personally scared of an engine or transmission swap. I'm sure a lot of you guys can do that in your driveway. And then there's the minor stuff, which is basic wear and tear and maintenance, and some of this stuff tends to add up. Now, this is my 2014 Nissan Pathfinder Hybrid that I bought for $1,600 because, of course, like all of them, they had a bad CVT transmission. I made a decision, as you could see, to part it out as things are starting to go because I didn't want to put $2,500 into rebuilding the transmission. Now, the real reason is I wanted to make videos and learn how the hybrid system works, so make sure you stay tuned for those. Other than that, it was a pretty great fully loaded vehicle, clean inside and under. Now, there's a couple of different points to consider here. Of course, if the repair value exceeds the car's value, we have to do a little calculation here. A $1,600 Pathfinder plus a $2,500 transmission job puts me just above $4,000, which is just a little bit higher than what the vehicle is worth out there on the market. The next thing to consider is what other components am I going to have to be replacing down the road. So for example, is the suspension also clapped out? Do I have a timing chain job that I'll probably have to do soon? Or in this case, the body is actually pretty clean, so maybe it's worth going into that transmission job. One thing I hate is when people just let maintenance back up and leave their brakes to wear out and their tires to wear out and then just end up trading in the vehicle at the end of the year because it needs about $1,200 in tires and $800 in brake jobs all the way around. If you plan and rotate it right, you can actually spread brake jobs and tires across each axle one at a time. You don't have to do them together across the year, so it doesn't add up like that. The next thing to consider is the previous history. So for example, you know that you changed its oil on time or not, and you've taken care of it, versus if you were to go out and buy that other $4,000 vehicle out there, you don't know if it's got previous collision damage on it. So let's say we decide to repair the transmission, but we want to save a little bit of money. Well, we can tap into an independent shop who could perhaps rebuild the transmission for cheaper instead of replacing with a new one. We could do it ourselves and swap in a used transmission. Now, the used parts market is actually a really great way if you want to save money. I mean, I sell used parts off this car myself, and I go to the junkyard a lot to source other ones. Let me know if you guys want me to make a separate discussion on the used parts industry. Now, there'll come a time where your vehicle's value is going to be so low that it's actually worth more in parts than the actual car itself, let's say around $2,000 or so, and at that point you could actually just part it out yourself and make back some of your money, or you could sell it to someone who's going to use it for parts. At least you'll make more money that way than if you sold it to the scrapyard for 200 bones. Now, let's say you do decide to jump into a new car. Well, new car payments are getting more and more now. Let's say it's minimum at least $600 a month, which is $7,200 a year, versus taking some of that money and putting it into your current car to keep it going for another couple of years or so. Sure, your car is going to be a little older, but it's better than having a new car with $30,000 in debt at the end of the year. But this is where you're going to have to come up with a repair plan to figure out how long the car is going to last. Take, for example, my Lexus GS350. I've had this car for almost 10 years now and really enjoy it, but it does need some minor repair. For example, the AC doesn't work and keeps leaking out gas. The mufflers are rotted out and leaking. The recirculating door actuator is also broken. And it'll need a windshield thanks to a UPS truck on the highway. This is the original 19-year-old glass. These TPMS sensors don't work, and that's causing a notification icon on the dashboard, which is annoying. And it might need tires pretty soon. Then there's superficial stuff like the paint falling off here. And I just spent $400 repairing the exhaust flanges so I can get rid of a check engine light. But other than that, this car is pretty sound and safe mechanically and good enough to drive for now. As for the repair plan, I want to keep this long term, so I'm going to change the AC first, then go for the mufflers and then the tires. Now, I always say make sure you do maintenance before mods. Maybe those new tires will come with nicer rims next year. year. Now, if you are thinking of getting rid of your car, remember it's only worth what the value of the market is willing to pay for. Take, for example, my Toyota Camry. When I got my minivan over here, I was supposed to sell this car, but $2,500 in my pocket is actually worth less to me than this working car, which has no issues at all. It's also got cheap parts and winter tires and front wheel drive, which is a lot better in snow than my rear wheel drive Lexus, which is like a pig on ice. There's a couple of other reasons why people want to give up their used cars. Of course, the first of which is their desire. Maybe they don't want to have an old car and they want to have that new car smell every couple of years, and that's fine if you go out and lease a new fancy Audi. Not everybody is financially bounded. And of course, people have to continue buying new cars in order for us to get used cars down the road. Sometimes your requirements might just change. For example, my little brother's expecting a child soon. So instead of sticking with just a Lexus LC500, he added an Audi RSQA to his fleet so that can actually fit a car seat inside. Next up, we talk about reliability. For example, you got a newer BMW, those things are not as reliable as, say, an older E39. Then you kind of have to also question the age and the mileage of the vehicle. Now, age and mileage don't really have a big play in reliability. I feel like maintenance is more important, and I would rather pick an older high mileage unit over a newer one with questionable maintenance and newer technology that we still don't know is proven yet. The next thing that ties into that is constant repairs. Now, if your car is in the shop longer than it's actually on the road, then you kind of have to question when it's time to scrap it and move on. Now, this also ties into tree hugger environmentalism. The more you're pouring into the car, you're using more resources. You might as well just crush it and move on, especially if you got like a Land Rover or something. A lot of people also upgrade for safety features, things like backup cameras, parking sensors, or more airbags. Or maybe you're just a mother like everybody else who wants an SUV to see over everything. Then, of course, there's technology. Everybody wants a big tablet on the dash that drives by itself, and nobody really cares about what's under the hood anymore. That's the going thing, and the biggest reason why a lot of people upgrade nowadays. Now, technologies arguably simplify the mechanical aspect of vehicles today. Take, for example, the Honda Accord, great family car, but no longer do you need double wishbone suspension or a V6 engine or a manual transmission. All that's been simplified to an option of 2 different powertrains, hybrid or not. Meanwhile, the electronic side of things has grown considerably, but that's what satisfies today's customers, and that's what the OEs are going to continue to build. Now, circling back around here, I'm going to add one more bullet point, which is the electrical side of things. Due to the forecasted increase in electrical complexity of vehicles, things are just going to outright fail. They're going to need programming, they're going to need calibration. There's going to be an entire industry just on the repair business for this alone. We definitely need help from the OE side of things, along with a lot of money, which ties back to what kind of financial decision you want to make on vehicles when something like this happens. This is not something you can easily fix in your backyard like an engine swap or even accident damage. Now, I want you to tell me in the comment section down below when you think is the right time to get rid of your used vehicle. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe.